Hello friends, Troy here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, we're going to be talking about some health and wellness stuff here, mindfulness for the average person. My goal would be to help you maybe lose a little bit of body fat, maybe help you build a little bit of muscle, explore some biohacking stuff. If that sounds amenable to you, if you might be interested in that, what I ask is that you smash that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything, but it really means the world to me. In this video, I thought we could talk a little bit about an interesting fact that I heard from a gentleman by the name of RFK. The other day I was watching the PBD podcast, and JFK was on the PBD podcast, and he was talking about, or RFK rather, excuse me, he was talking about the year 1989 and the fact that around that time our childhood obesity rate jumped from around 6% to around 40%. And so the point of the video really is I want to ask you guys, what do you think that is? Do you think that it has something to do with what's in our food? Do you think that it has to do with some type of a toxin exposure? Do you think that it has to do with lifestyle stuff, like maybe we stopped moving around as much? I would love to hear your thoughts, because if you guys know me, you know that I'm passionate about weight loss, and just, I have my own weight loss journey that I've been through, and I'm passionate about helping other people lose weight because it is possible. It's something that you can do. And so I just feel like this is something that's worth looking into. If anyone knows anything about this, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think that it is. And yeah, it might be worth just taking a look at, because I don't know what it is, but that's all. Now, if you need to lose some weight, here's what I can tell you, and here's a starting point. Before you do anything else, experiment. You don't have to change what you're eating, but experiment with reducing the amount of food that you're eating. So in the beginning, if you're just starting out, something you can do is reduce the amount of food that you're eating. There's a few ways that you can do that. One way that I find to be helpful, many people do, is pre-portioning your food and allowing yourself to only be around the amount of food that you could consume, that you're allowing yourself to consume, and that amount of food is less than what you were consuming before. So I'm talking healthy choice meals, right? Very small portions. They're frozen, right? You have to heat them to prepare them, and all of that stuff makes overeating a little prohibitive, because in order to eat two of them, you'd have to go through the whole package. You'd have to take the package off the thing. You'd have to put it in the microwave again, heat it up. You'd have to wait for it to cool down. So that helped me on my journey. Some people find sandwiches to be helpful, right? Because you bring a sandwich with you to work, do some sort of healthy sandwich choice, but really, this is what you have. You have this and no more. And that can kind of help people from overeating. It helps people cut back, to limit themselves to only whatever it is they're allowing themselves. If you're cooking at home, one thing that you can do is you can take a Tupperware, right? You cook a large amount of food, and you take Tupperware and you can pre-portion your food. And you can do that before you start eating. Right? You make a bunch of food in a pot on the stove, and then you get your Tupperware, and before you sit down to eat, what you do is you portion out a few more meals, a few of your next few meals into that Tupperware. And you do that before you sit down to eat, because once you sit down to eat, if the whole giant pot of food is still there on the stove, you're going to go back to that perhaps for seconds, right? You can eliminate that from happening if you pre-portion that food out. Put it in little Tupperware, seal it, put it in the fridge, then sit down to eat. And only eat then what you've allowed yourself on your plate, because everything else is already put away. So a guideline that I've heard and I feel is a good one is around 80% fullness, and try to stop there. Don't go beyond 80% You feel like you've filled yourself to 80% capacity and then stop. We have a tendency, perhaps, probably, I know I do, to overeat, to just want, because we're gluttons, we want to just eat until we feel stuffed. And that's not always necessary. The invitation is to nourish that hunger feeling in yourself a little bit and get in touch with that by cutting back on how much you're eating. And one of the ways you can do that is by pre-portioning your food. There are several ways that you can do that, but the whole point is that there is something you can try. There's so many things you can try. So try them. Get out there, try some things, see what works for you. And I'd love to hear your experience. I'd love to help. If you're out there struggling, there's no need for that. You have all the resources in the world. Everyone's rooting for you, including me. If you got value from this, give me a like. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you soon.